Take a chance on me. Guys, I got a secret. A secret. A secret. Da 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 da. This model will be coming out within the next month. True. Right now it's a preview. Members only. So, I'm going to do my homework. And I'm going to monetize me doing my homework. At the same time, I'll be playing copyrighted music. So, good luck with the VOD staying up, I guess. This is my geology homework. You've all seen it before, I'm sure. This stream is like anyone can view it, but only members can chat. Kind of has some fancy exclusivity feeling, you know, like I don't know, a fancy drinking place. You can only message me through that. You won't be able to message me anywhere else. Kind of cool. Also planning on doing a content survey to see like what content you guys like and what times you like, just to get a clear goal for the next year, you know. Let's get into fucking earthquakes. Oh, and today my cat had a giant poo-poo on him, and it was sad, and I like had to clean it off his butt, and it wouldn't come off. I don't know how to get rid of it. Should I just cut it out? It's just a giant wet poo-poo. It's weird. Honshin. It sounds like Honkshu when she said it. Does it have the date? It does. Okay. Hoku earthquake. MW 9.0 130 kilometers east of the coast. To 4 km depth. Japan moved eastward several meters. Sea floor rose vertically by, so it went up 30 centimeters. Massive energy release. Yes. Ground shaking, fires, and a tsunami. It's a big wave. You know? Lisa did. What? This is embarrassing. Come on. A fault. We know about the faults. It's a fracture in a plane. Plane on which sliding takes place. Three major types of fault. Three major types of stress. Go back. And build until it is released to rupture. Rupture is what it's called. You guys want music? That says relapse. Faults. Do you want to hear my teacher talk? You can. As long as this video isn't on YouTube, we won't get copyrighted for it, but we might. We're supposed to look at elastic behavior and elastic rebound. Oh, I guess these were in the last unit, so they're expecting us to talk about them. Elastic behavior. If stress was no longer applied, rock would return to its origin. Shape. Coming at you, coming round again. And we hit the crowd 10. Storm and thunder, yeah, we get intense. No remorse for a full shed. Yeah. You stare in disbelief. I'm going up, going down, spinning around, round, round. I'm sorry that I come off a great deal, but that is where I came from. You might settle for lesson number 1. I'm making names, taking names, soon not me. Alright, so we want music. We want No Thoughts, Head Empty. I've been listening to a fishing playlist recently. Music, no copyright. Some fishing game music, the Gone Fishing game playlist. Been listening to that, like on loop. It sounds like pea music. Well, we'll still listen to the Gone Fishing music. Perfect. I'm like behind the chat box. I'm scared. Okay, much better. Let's keep going. Elastic. No longer. Thank you for the heart. I see it. Shape. Thank you for the heart. Yum yum. What do they say in the TikTok lives? Yeah. Spicy. You know, normal things. Let me turn down the volume. There. That's better, right? I feel like that's okay. Elastic behavior. You'll hear my teacher now.
The solid will snap in half. This happens because the amount of pressure you apply is greater than the amount of elasticity the solid has.
Strain.
Elastic behavior describes the ability for a solid to go back to its original shape when stress is no longer applied. In the pen or pencil example, you can apply some pressure and then let go, and the pen or pencil will go back to its original shape. In the case of rocks, if a stress such as bending, stretching, or shortening is applied and the rock shape is permanently changed, then the rock has experienced elastic strain. What happens in the subsurface is that rocks will experience stresses, mainly from plate movement, and they will develop cracks because they are a brittle solid. The cracks will link together to form a fracture that ultimately breaks the rock into two pieces. When the rock breaks and or slips along a fault plane, the energy that was built up to cause that movement is released and the rocks will vibrate until they regain their relaxed shape. This snapback to the original shape is known as the elastic rebound theory and is what generates earthquakes. It is important to remember that earthquakes accompany many geologic processes, but they are not necessarily caused by those processes. Rather, elastic rebound is a product of those processes, and elastic rebound generates earthquakes.
I love spam colors. Hold on.
Earthquake is an episode of ground shape.
Today it wasn't spam. I also found a marshmallow. So I was taking a bite of the marshmallow. Yeah.
That occurs when seismic waves reach Earth's surface. It defines the release of built-up
Elastic rebound is responsible for earthquake generation. Earthquake, which are commonly said as equalizer for some reason, and episode of ground shaking that waves reach the Earth's surface. Listening to this just makes me want to play Zelda. I want to play Skyward Sword. Okay. Earth's surface. Main shock. Mecha shock. What's the main shock? It's the largest energy release. Main and largest east. It's interesting, right? Because usually there's earthquakes that come before and after, because it's like two things hitting each other. Makes sense why there's smaller earthquakes. Preceding a main shock. Can I tell you guys a secret? I was never into Pokemon as a kid. Like the games, I hated it. Pokemon game was actually, technically my first one would be Sun and, no, X and Y. I didn't have Sun and Moon, I had X and Y. And I was really excited because they were gonna make it 3D, and I don't really like the pixel art games. As a kid, I was like so anti-pixel art games. I still think I don't like them now.
Is the largest amount of energy released.
It's not as
However,
fun.
multiple cracks and fractures form within Earth's crust, and as the solid Earth is experiencing stress and trying to compensate, energy may be released multiple times as the rock settles. A foreshock precedes the main shock with a smaller energy release. They can be deceptive because some foreshocks are quite large and are mistaken for the main shock. Aftershocks will also be large, though they will be a smaller
I read a
energy
book
release than the
in
main
middle
shock.
school about
They may
the
occur
San
days and
Francisco
weeks
earthquake.
after the main shock event as the crust continues to settle.
Like, the roads ripped apart. It's based off a true story, you know? That's even crazier, huh? My dad lived in California once. Had a long life, so he's like done everything. But he told me it was fun. When I was young, we used to live at a beach. On an island, actually. We actually moved because the price increased so much due to global warming. They made it to where there's mandatory flood tax. So when the water would rise a lot, the likelihood of the house being not underwater is crazy insano. But
Distance of movement along the fault. Often, displacement is visible on stripe-slip faults because
didn't
there
live
is
that
no
far.
vertical movement with these faults. All movement is horizontal, and so you can see features on the landscape such as streams being separated by a displacement. Many places in California can note displacement of fences, roadways, and streams along the San Andreas fault line and all connected faults that make up the San Andreas system. If you ever listen to a news report about an earthquake, they always tell you where the epicenter was, or at least around
focus
Henshin
versus
location.
epicenter.
Most of the time, they describe it as though it is the origin point of the earthquake. However, this is incorrect. The focus is the location where seismic waves are generated. The focus is a point within Earth's crust where energy is released. We describe earthquakes as being either shallow, intermediate, or deep focus earthquakes. Shallow focus earthquakes occur
You know, I ought to get
kilometers
copyrighted.
Intermediate
for
occurs
Nintendo
between
music.
60 and 300
Kind of
kilometers
messed up
while
because
deep focus earthquakes occur
I know on
between
Twitch,
400 to 660
they don't usually.
The depth of focus is important. The amount of energy released has the ability to do a lot of damage, but that damage is contingent on the depth of focus. A small magnitude earthquake at a depth of 300 kilometers will not have enough energy to allow seismic waves to reach Earth's surface. However, a small magnitude earthquake occurring in a shallow focus range may allow for the seismic waves.
Small earthquake with a shallow surface. This range
Is to reach the surface and cause some damage.
will reach surface and cause damage. Will reach surface and cause damage.
surface directly above the focus. This is why news reports always include the epicenter. It is a point on the actual
reporters use this to identify the point on the surface.
surface where seismic waves radiate outward. The distance of a location from the epicenter will determine the amount of damage done by seismic waves radiating outward from that point.
That's very interesting. So there's a focus range. And the earthquakes will affect the top layer depending on how far they are. Seismic waves kind of
During
look
an
like
earthquake, energy is released in all directions in the form of seismic waves.
parabolas?
There are multiple types of these. Body waves pass through Earth's interior, hence the name body, while surface waves travel along Earth's surface.
Surface. Body. I love talking to people. I'm very well.
We'll go through
They
each type
limited
of wave
you.
and describe how they contribute to earthquake events. The fastest
Body waves.
traveling waves are compressional body waves known as P waves,
P
or
wave.
primary wave.
Primary wave. Compressional body waves. Fastest wave. Particle move back and forth parallel to the direction in which the blank moves. What?
Waves.
Wave.
As the seismic wave passes through material, particles move back and forth parallel to the direction in which
So
the wave
it's like a
moves,
straight line
allowing
across.
for it to travel at an increased velocity. As this animation shows, P waves compress materials as they travel through them. Another type
S waves, which are secondary waves, are shear. I wonder why they're saying this. Fastest wave. 60% velocity of P wave. Oh God, I'm thinking we're gonna do math. 60% velocity. I'm intimidated. Look at that writing. Shear
body waves are S waves, or secondary waves. These are the second fastest wave, traveling at 60% of the velocity of the P wave. These are shear body waves, so particles move back and forth perpendicular to the direction in which the waves move. Just as there are two types of body waves,
Love waves, they love you very much. Love wave. Surface waves. Ground. Side to side. They love you much. Railing, like silver railing. Surface waves.
Types of surface waves. Love waves are surface waves that move the ground side to side, like a snake slithering across the landscape. Raleigh waves are surface waves that undulate up and down.
Oh, okay, so we can love waves like snake side to side movement. Easier to remember.
These are the type of waves most seen in Hollywood movies to indicate ground movement, though it takes an extraordinarily large earthquake to make the surface ripple up and down where humans can see it with the naked eye.
I wonder why it takes
Surface
so long.
waves travel significantly slower than body waves do, but do more damage. This should make sense to you because all of our structures are built on Earth's surface. It is exceedingly difficult to build a structure that can withstand shaking of various intensity on both a side-to-side and up-and-down movement. We use seismic waves to determine where the epicenter of an earthquake is. Knowing the epicenter then allows us to determine the focus. Seismographs are instruments that are put into the ground all over the world. They record any type of motion on the ground. Because P waves are the fastest waves and S waves are not far behind, we can use these waves to find the distance of the epicenter from the seismograph. To do this, the amount of time between the arrival of the first P wave and the arrival of the first S wave is plotted onto a time distance graph. Notice in this figure, the upticks of the P and S waves are very small. That is because they are body waves and seismographs are located on the surface. Large movements are recorded with the arrival of surface waves. Plotting the arrival time difference between P and S waves onto a time distance graph provides the distance from the epicenter to the seismic station. This distance is a radius of a circle, as there is not a good way of knowing which direction the waves arriving from, considering that seismic waves travel through Earth's interior. Because the distance is the radius of a circle, data from 3 seismic stations are needed. 3 circles must be plotted on a map to accurately find the epicenter. 1 circle will give you no location information, and 2 circles overlap in 2 areas, which doesn't help locate the epicenter. 3 circles overlap over 1 point, allowing for the epicenter of the earthquake to be located. Let's look at a simple example. Data from Seismic Station 1 says that waves traveled 500 miles. Using the scale bar on our figure, we determine how far 500 miles would be in length from Station 1. Using that as a radius, we can construct a circle around
I
Station
don't fucking
1.
get it. It's supposed to make a
The
circle.
earthquake must have originated along the circle, but it is impossible to tell where without more data. Station 2 reports a distance of 750 miles. Using our scale bar,
Are we
we
gonna
can
make like
determine
the
length of 750
circle?
miles and use that as the radius of the circle around Station 2. We've narrowed down where the epicenter is at, but the 2 circles overlap in 2 places. So we still need more data. Our third station reports a distance of 1,000 miles. Using our scale bar,
You just have to find the point where all of them.
we can determine the radius length and construct our circle.
This is what
Where
those
all 3
those
circles
compass
overlap,
sticks are for,
with the
huh?
general vicinity of
Define
where
earthquakes.
The circles come together is where the epicenter is located.
You know, I've never used one of those in school, ever. It was required in geometry.
Now that you have an idea of where and how earthquakes are generated, we can discuss how we determine their size. We can determine the size of earthquakes from two different perspectives: intensity and amount of energy released. While these seem like they are the same thing, they're not. Remember, depth of focus plays a role in how much movement happens at the surface. So does the type of material the seismic waves are traveling through. Because of these factors, intensity can vary between earthquakes that have the same amount of energy released or magnitude. We use the modified Mercalli
intensity refers to this is pretty good because I have the chat on. I'm not distracted. Oh my god, this is awesome. Or maybe I'll just make homework streams members only content. Love you. At least members only chat, right?
Of an earthquake. This is a scale comprised of Roman numerals, with the lowest number being 1 and the highest being 12. A rating of 1 means that no one actually felt the ground shaking. The motion was only picked up by seismic detectors. As you move up the scale, varying amounts of destructiveness are added to give a point of reference to the type of earthquake experienced. For instance, an MMI rating of 5 would wake most people up from their sleep and cause unstable objects to move.
Okay, so MMI of 5 wakes people up. You know, but we had an earthquake here once when I was in middle school, and it woke people up, but it like was so small
after the 1984 Morgan Hill earthquake in California. Notice that the highest intensities are those right near the epicenter, and then the ratings gradually decrease away from the epicenter. Something I want to mention. Intensity is also contingent upon the type of structures built in a location. In the 1800s and early 1900s, there were probably not any type of earthquake building codes for structures. However, especially in earthquake-prone areas such as California, earthquake building codes have been put in place to ensure minimal damage during an earthquake. Obviously, not every earthquake event and associated damage can be taken into account, but for the most part, updated building codes help to reduce the intensity of an earthquake event in certain areas because they help to keep damage minimal. Another thing to consider is the size of the population. There are not many people, and by proxy, not many structures. Structural damage is minimal. In contrast, heavily populated areas may experience more damage even from a smaller magnitude earthquake. This means that magnitude and intensity do not always match or line up with each other. Magnitude refers to the amount of energy released during an earthquake. One number is used to describe the amount of energy release. Its most important distinction from intensity is that magnitude does not depend on distance from the epicenter because it is purely a measurement of the amount of energy released.
It's just an
What is most often reported on the news is something called Richter magnitude, which is a local magnitude and abbreviated as M subscript L. A logarithmic scale is used to determine magnitude. Each number represents a tenfold increase in the maximum amplitude of ground motion. For example, a magnitude 8 earthquake is 10 times the energy release of a magnitude 7, 100 times the energy release of a magnitude 6, 1,000 times the energy release of a magnitude 5, and so on. Richter magnitude is kind of an outdated scale. It was developed in the late 19th. Early 1960s, and is good for calculating energy release of shallow focused earthquakes that occur near the seismic station recording the data. Due to this distance limitation, it proves unreliable for measuring the magnitude of all earthquakes. The magnitude accepted.
Yeah, okay, so it has a distance works well for shallow earthquakes.
Focused earthquakes that occur near the seismic station Due to this distance limitation, it proves unreliable for measuring the magnitude of all earthquakes.
Also, log scale.
accepted by scientists today is called the moment magnitude, abbreviated as M subscript W. This scale is also a logarithmic scale, like the Richter magnitude, but it measures the amplitude of several different seismic waves to determine the dimensions of the slipped area on the fault and estimates the displacement that occurred. Displacement along a fault is going to give the most accurate representation of the amount of energy released. The most common terms you'll hear to describe magnitude of earthquakes are strong and major, and often you will hear them misused. Strong earthquakes range in size from 6.0 to 6.9 of the amount to describe magnitude of earthquakes.
Republic. How about that? Meow.
We'll hear them misused. Strong earthquakes range in size from 6.0 to 6.9, while major earthquakes range from 7.0 to 7.9. Generally speaking, anything above a 7.0 is considered a major earthquake. This table shows notable earthquakes throughout Earth's recorded history, comparing the difference between Richter magnitude and moment magnitude, and their estimated death toll. The moment magnitude 9.0 2011 earthquake in Henshin, Japan killed 21,000 people. In contrast, a moment magnitude 7.5 earthquake in China in 1976 killed 650. How did an earthquake of such a smaller magnitude cause so many more deaths? This is where intensity varies. China has a very large population, and in this province, in 1976, structures were non-earthquake sound. There was a significant amount of building and roadway collapse that contributed to the death toll in China. Note that the largest earthquake on record is a moment magnitude 9.5 that struck in Chile in 1960.
Oh no, the biggest earthquake ever struck was in Chile?
Other earthquakes on this list, but Chile has been struck multiple times by high magnitude quakes.
You think, is Chile on an edge? Is it on a tectonic plate edge? Is it on a tectonic plate? Chile tectonic plate. Yeah, it is. The edge of Chile's on the tectonic plate edge. How cool. Means there must be a lot of earthquakes. I have to go to the bathroom now. Okay? I'll be right back. I'm back now. And I'm cold. But I'm wearing my blanket hoodie. So maybe I'll get warm. Maybe.
This has everything to do with its geologic setting.
Oh, this one's an actual YouTube video. I can't stream this now. Okay, I'm going to go offline now. How long have I been on? About an hour. Like some good ambiance for studying. You know, do your best, everyone.